and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. Be one code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. Be one thing.
What's going on? What's going on? What is growing on? Welcome to B1 Ag. Here at B1 Ag, we focus on Black agriculture that pertains to Black agriculture production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics for the Black family as well as the Black community. I'm John Henry Harris, and we also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Now, usually here at B1 Ag, we bring you different stories and highlight different situations that are going on in the agricultural sector. But today is more of a call to action. Every show is a call to action in a sense that we are almost pleading to you to grow your own food, learn how to grow your own food, take more notice and be more aware of what's going on with our food system. But today is a serious call to action. On March 11th, President Biden and his administration signed the American Rescue Act, and part of that was offering $4 billion in debt relief to socially disadvantaged farmers, which originally the target was Black farmers. It is October 18th, 2021. These farmers still have not received their debt relief. And it's paramount that our Black farmers need to be taken care of financially for the decades of discrimination they've been dealt with, being locked out of subsidies and other funds that would help their operations grow and thrive, and just not being awarded opportunities that other farmers have been awarded to be successful. All the while, their land has been taken, and their lives, their livelihood has always been under threat. There is a petition going around on change.org petitioning for Biden to release these funds. Now, these funds are just debt relief. It's a small piece of the pie, but it's a small piece of the pie that would help our Black farmers. And today, that's what this is. This is a call to action. We need you. There's a petition to release the Black farmers' debt relief. If you look in the description of this podcast on YouTube and also on Facebook at Black Boss, the Black Boss channel, in that description, there's a direct link for our people that are watching live. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a copy of this direct link right in the comment section for you to go ahead and sign this petition. We need to get this petition signed. We need to put more pressure on the powers to be to release these funds to the Black farmers that was promised to them. This was legislated. Now, the distribution of these funds have been marred with lawsuits from non-melanated farmers claiming reverse discrimination, whatever that means. You know, and then what's even more, maddening about A lot of these farmers, they don't even want that debt relief that was promised to these black farmers. They just don't want the black farmers to get it, even though these same black farmers have been locked out and just have not been awarded the same opportunities that these non-melanated farmers just reap every day. So again, I put the link of this change.org petition in the live for the live audience. It's right there in the comment section on Facebook at Brothers on Sports Society or the Black Boss channel, and in our B1 Ag YouTube comment section is there as well. And if you look in the description of the video, it is there. And we got to get this done. I was watching a video, and we can present, being Farmer Brown, the MC, we present this information to you. We can make you aware and bring you stories, show you examples, infographics, numbers, statistics, give you, pour our souls into this. But I can't make you plant a seed. We can't make you go spend money with the black farmer. That's why I would say this is an action item. This is something we need our audience, whoever hears our voice, we need you to do this. Sign this petition. Sign this petition. We need you to like and share and subscribe to B1 Ag Daily Bread podcast on YouTube. We need you to make this conversation bigger. We started talking about supply chain shortages, food shortages back in June. That's 4 months ago when we started this conversation, trying to, be the canary in the cave mine, signaling, hey, this is coming. Some people listened, some people brushed it off. Oh, that's fake news. This is not real. Now, this is the main story on all of our mainstream news sources about how the supply chain is broken. All these shipping containers are stuck either in the ocean on ships or stuck at the ports. And there's more to come. This is very serious. That's why it's more important. The most important thing that we can do now is support our black farmers so we can help them to grow some food so that we all can eat. Literally, the way we are able to feed ourselves and our children and our families is under attack. It is threatened. And we like to stay ahead of the curve. We like to be proactive. We'd rather be proactive than have to react out of haste or desperation. Again, the change.org link is in the comment section on Facebook, Black Boss channel. It's in the comment section for the live presentation on our YouTube page. In the comment section, click on that link and sign. And it's also in the description of the video on YouTube as well and Facebook. You just gotta click inside. Try to make it a direct link. I don't want you to have to copy nothing. I don't want you to have to go Google anything. Just click on the link and you'll go directly to it. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you. But this is serious. We need you. We need you for us. This petition has to be signed. It needs to be signed. We got to put pressure. Farmer Brown, what say you?
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. We have these conversations, and it ultimately is all around action items, specific action items that can be taken based on where you're at as far as your, personal need, where you're at when it comes to altruism, where you're at when it comes to wanting to support a cause. So when the pandemic hit, and see, this hits personal because, my partner and I had started a business in Kentucky based around, seeing a need that needed to be addressed. Neither of us were like deep into agriculture, more so than just, I'm an extension agent. So the better buggy story is what I'm getting at. So one of the conversations we've been consistently having on B1 Ag is what does a localized food system look like? What does a network that supports Black farmers look like? And betterbuggy.com. And so this is a couple out of Atlanta, Georgia, Randy and Jonathan Altador. This was in 2020. They noticed that it was frustrating, trying to support Black-owned stores and not really having a good selection when it came to food and fresh produce. And so, I like to speak positivity. So we're going to affirm that Better Buggy's just taking a pause right now. But the news has come out that betterbuggy.com has been, shut down for whatever reason. What Better Buggy represents is this is the future when we're thinking about technology, when we're thinking about the logistics of shipping products grown on Black farms, regionally, nationally. Better Buggy to me was like the prime, I'm going to say is the prime example of what this system looks like. I doubt Kroger stops selling produce or gets mad at Walmart or gets mad at Publix because they sell produce. It's a network chain of grocery stores. Better Buggy is down for right now. And I think I'm not going to talk too long today, but I think this is something when we talk about challenges, family, we have these challenges on TikTok doing things that destroy us. We have these challenges who can dress the flyest, who can pull out the tightest whip, who can look the nicest, who can spit the most game. I think Better Buggy represents one of the ultimate challenges that not only feed people, but when we think about economics of the future, what is it? Widgets. The real widget is food, and your consumer is real people. And from personal experience, I understand some of the dynamics. Like I don't in no way speak for Better Buggy. I never met them, but like I said, the impact that they've had just in the last year that they've been doing this, they've literally connected thousands of Black farmers with consumers nationally. I don't think that's ever been done before. But with the internet, producers who are producing real food, distribution networks to people around the country. You had content creators like Lisa Cabrera. We always talk about different niches that people have. But through Lisa Cabrera's network, just playing a 1-minute commercial at the beginning of her podcast, she was able to promote this Better Buggy brand to hundreds of thousands of melanated people who were just excited to support a Black-owned company, especially when it came to food. And like I said, we had gotten this news a few weeks back. We really didn't want to speak on it because we're like, no. But then Brad told me he got another notification. And so I think this is a learning opportunity and also a call to action. Like we need Better Buggy back. But it's trying to identify now what goes wrong with Black businesses. And this does directly tie to Black agriculture. What I've learned in my personal journey, you have this goal. I remember Killer Mike had gone on this mission to, he wanted to take a trip somewhere and he wasn't going to shop nowhere but Black. And he got to a point where he starved. He didn't have nowhere to lay his head. He didn't have no transportation because of what melanated people in these positions for him to make this journey. This journey I'm speaking of right now is our journey into greatness, our journey into perpetuity, our journey into becoming what all of us are speaking, this Black magic, this Black greatness, this melanated greatness. We have to be able to feed ourselves. And when you're talking specifically about these food networks, you got to understand, well, 1.4% of any demographic, in this case, we're talking about farmers. Our black farmers don't represent a large part of who produce food in the country right now. They just don't. It's 3.5 million farmers. Out of that 3.5 million is 1.4%, a little over 40,000. And I would say, less than that. And these are people with farm IDs. There's people that grow food that might not necessarily have ID. But when we're looking at a formidable, logistical, sustainable system, you have to have these cogs in place to make a machine work. And so what I run into here in Kentucky with black soil is farmers run out of capacity to serve. So maybe, I'm the content creator, I'm the marketer, I'm the person who's, gotten this interest in this thing called black grown produce. But then what happens if you get everybody that says, yeah, we're ready to buy now, and you only have X amount of farmers that can supply it? There's a handful of things that can happen, family. They throw this word butter biscuit around. I think there's a science behind why people eat butter biscuits. Some people are just cutthroat like that. And other people realize, man, if I want to keep this operation going, I got, what do they say? You don't bite the hand that feeds you. So a lot of situations, I know Better Buggy, Black Soil weren't the first people that said, hey, how do we get food grown by black people to black consumers? But you run into a point of capacity. You run out of capacity. And this is one of the reasons you brought this change.org. We have multiple layers to get to achieve this. I absolutely believe it is achievable to create our own formidable food network. And this isn't being racist. This is being practical. You're not going to go to a Nepalese community. You're not going to go to an Asian, Latino. You're not going to go to their communities and they're basing their food security. And these black people going to spend with me. These black people going to grow enough for me to make sure I feed my Latino kids. These black people going to spend enough for me to feed my Nepalese kids, my Australian kids, whatever nation you're talking about. And so when we have these talks about nationhood, black nation, liberation, if we can't support, feeding ourselves and those who produce the food, you have to wonder where politics go, because you will inevitably run back into having to ask somebody to help your operation go, whether you're talking about a business, just the personal brick and mortar business, or whether you're talking about the corporation of a nation. What do you think, bro? We have these grandiose ideas, and I know they're achievable, but when it comes down to actually, when the rubber hits the road, what are we doing to really build that capacity of farmers being able to supply a groundswell of melanated consumers who want to support? What are the different niches within making this feasible to where you don't have a behemoth? Like, to me, Better Buggy was like the next layer, Booker T. Watley. Like, they took what this man did, this ancestor did, and incorporated tech. And to find ourselves today where we don't know if we can keep moving. I think this is a very more serious than a lot of these mandates, more serious than a lot of conversations going on right now. That's my personal opinion. But I tend to believe that if we can't feed ourselves, none of the other politics we talk about matter.
Food is the foundation of any civilization. Food is the foundation of life. If you don't eat, you perish. It's a simple statement, but it is a very real statement. It is a very truthful statement, and it's a very powerful statement. What you see in front of you now is the change.org. This is the actual petition. Again, the link to this petition is in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube for the live audience. It's in the description of the video if you happen to catch the replay. Right now, at this point, 54,133 people have signed, and they're trying to get to 75,000 signatures. At 75,000 signatures, this petition will become one of the top signed on change.org. It reads, Biden Department of Justice declines to appeal court order blocking reparations for Black farmers. The American Rescue Plan signed by President Biden on March 11th included $4 billion in debt relief payments for farmers categorized as socially disadvantaged by the United States Department of Agriculture. Primarily, these farmers are Black, Hispanic, American Indian, or Asian American. The borrowers with loans made by the Farm Service Agency, Commodity Credit Corps, and farm storage facility loans or private loans guaranteed by the Farm Service Agency are eligible. Nearly 16,000 minority farmers are supposed to have their debt paid off in full by the American Rescue Plan in what Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack called a major civil rights victory. However, this victory has not been fulfilled because none of these monies have been paid. And again, this is only for 16,000 minority farmers. It's a drop in the bucket, but this drop in the bucket can start ripples that can help grow more food, help these farmers increase their capacity. Again, we're talking about capacity and able to compete in this market. Now, this market that they're competing in is food production. This food production is what's going to feed us. This is what we need to feed ourselves. You know, we talk about the dangers of these genetically modified foods and what they're doing, and even the stripping and the depletion of the nutrients in the ground from these super mega farms. Look, we're going to have to really take it upon ourselves to make sure that we can eat. For far too long, we've taken, I just go to the store. The shelves are being emptied at the stores. The food that you think that has been there is not there. And it's not just food. There's a supply chain disruption. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of shelves that are empty, even outside of the food aisles. It's very important that these farmers get this debt relief.
3.5 million total farmers in North America. Out of that, only about 40,000. And the people who said we're going to help you, maybe 16,000 vague, 16,000 minorities. We know that minority can, that'll touch a whole lot of people. We really have to have a very B1 Black, melanated, carbonated, however, we have to have a B1 focus on our Black farmers. 16,000, that wouldn't even help, a quarter of the Black farmers. And we know that that's not going to go there. And so as a community, it's like, we have to understand the gravity of this moment right now. To me, I take this as, the proverbial they came out and showed their hands. This is the level of priority I'm going to put on this group that's being decimated. And if y'all melanated people don't see no value in them, why should I? I ain't going to get no backlash if I just undermine these Black farmers. And them Black people don't care. They're turning up. They're worried about somebody's rap van. They're worried about a bus talking about, disrespecting the women. And it's, I think it would be more disrespect to our women and girls if they're not fed. And so if you find yourself as a nation and community in a situation where you're dependent on a group that already sees you as, less than, who cares about a tour bus and a bus rap? Like, what, because we know historically what people have had to do to eat. When we think about it, what people classify as these third world nations, when we think about prostitution, when we think about, having to, I don't want to say have to, people getting into illicit drug trade, people have made on this planet have had to make some horrible decisions in the last decades dealing with the factions that said we'll help 16,000 minorities. There's not a priority on feeding us, making us a competitive people. I know this personally. There's a lot more bags than kind of going along to get along. But when it comes to feeding yourself, it is something that has to be done from the grassroots, and that's the only place it's going to come from. You know, I signed this petition, and I think it can be useful for the handful of melanated farmers who could possibly benefit if the usual suspects decide to move on it. You know, we have the most popular president in the world, right? According to what they say, the most voted in the world, more popular than Obama. And we see the effort and focus that's been put in the melanated community. And when we see specifically, like I said, the thing with a farmer ain't just somebody that pops up at a building. This is somebody that actually creates something that grows, right? Like this grows, and then, you know, ideally you want this to grow seasonally, continuously. And so the knowledge a farmer has, you can't replace that. That's not something you can go to a class. You know, we have healthyblackfood.com to learn how to garden. But when it comes to, okay, we're trying to feed nations here. We're trying to provide options for people to where, okay, if they don't get a jab, if they don't have a job, if they don't have access to money, if they happen to be in an area where there's no grocery stores, if the grocery stores that or the restaurants that are selling food is selling low grade quality food, we have to be in a position to provide options for ourselves. You know, this isn't a thing about forcing anybody's hand on what to prioritize, but, you know, I've never known any organism in an ecosystem that operates in a silo by itself. You can be this cute little safe deer. Oh, I'm cool. I don't need to work with the rest of the deer in my herd. But then when that bobcat, that panther comes hunting, guess who's easier to catch? You know, and this is what individualism does. When we talk about this B1 Ag conversation, it's so much bigger than the individual. And don't get it twisted. I love myself, right? I imagine hearing you love yourself. But I understand for the optimal outcome of this self of me that I love, guess what? I'm a part of a community. Whether I want to curl up in a ball, you know what they say, fight or flight. But the best thing to do is, how do you enrich this community? And one of these things, like I said, you can't go wrong with enriching, with empowering those that produce feed, the food for this community. In the melanated community, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It would be the black farmer of all other farmers on this planet that has the most vested interest in feeding melanated people. Do we want to keep putting our farmers in a position where, okay, the only way that they can keep their operations going is having to do business with the usual suspects? Because that's the only other option. That's the only other option. If any of us were in the shoes of some of these farmers who are trying their best, either, you know, if I don't have a group of my own that's going to support me continuously, not just when it's trending, not just when it's a fad, but continuously. Because I know every year you're going to want to eat. And so every year I know you're going to allocate X amount of whatever you're going to spend on food specifically to my operation, because it takes that type of codification to make a farm operation work. Or, you know, these people over here that want to throw me some grants because this diversity word is popular right now. I'm getting a little attention, but what happens when the diversity word ain't popular no more? When you got everybody starving because of these shortages that you speak of. Because these shortages are going to affect everybody. And best believe when it hits the fan, others are going to look out for themselves before they worry about any other group. That's human nature. I would never expect a rabbit to look out for the interest of a fox or vice versa in a catastrophic situation. And so as melanated people, what kind of energy are we putting towards our black farmers? This is so much deeper than a headline.
I mean, you know how they say hidden in plain sight? This is the American Rescue Plan, right? $4 billion was promised in debt relief to these black farmers. They have not been relieved of their debt with the American Rescue Plan. America is not going to save us.
They didn't even get a Juneteenth holiday. Could at least give them. They didn't even get a holiday. And so for the people to talk about reparations, what you get for tie these things together, man. Connect the dots. So for the people calling for reparations, we got Juneteenth. And I think we got a hip hop holiday or something like that. The equivalent of that when it comes to black producers is, I'm going to give you this American Rescue Plan. And so if this is what it manifested into, oh, we had to shut it down because somebody said that's backwards racism. Couldn't none of us eat Juneteenth? As a hip hopper, like, what do I get out of this holiday? Hip hop is every day, all day. Why are you just going to acknowledge one day? Matter of fact, even recently, we changed it from Columbus Day to Indigenous. Did anybody eat from that? Whoever made, little cards or T-shirts saying Indigenous Day, I imagine they got a little bag out of that, but I bet it wasn't melanated companies. And we're not on here being negative. I hope that's not how what we're presenting is being taken. This is very serious. This is very serious. There's paper petitions to be signed. I would definitely encourage the family to sign this petition just to show support. But there is internal support that each of us, outside of somebody's voice trying to influence, each of us got to decide now, okay, I'm a part of this group. I've seen how quick jobs can be taken. I've seen how quick changes can happen. Wow. I mean, if you looked at any screens over the last week, you've seen that there's shortages and there's these ships full of these products that we go to a store and buy that are just sitting on the coast of California. I actually saw this, bro, a few years ago when I was an undergrad, when I realized that, wow, they only have like one quality check person per, I think, 100 shipping containers. And this was back in 2012, 2013. And that was for quality checking. So now these are just mounting up. And so it's not like you're suddenly going to just have enough people overnight. These are all areas, there is a national problem, but these are areas, once again, within the melanated community, we can see, okay, find a weakness in the game, sold it. This is something that's wrong. People have been sitting home, ordered so much stuff, it's literally clogged up. Our consumerism has clogged up the system. It's an unsustainable system to begin with, but I mean, the usual suspects, consumerism, ordering so much from overseas that's not produced here has clogged up the system. Now, you think about how many trucks have to go out to distribute this stuff from them ports. How many people is it going to take to unload all of these ships? How much quality was lost because there's food on a lot of those too. And I imagine whoever's, spent some money getting it over here is going to want to make their profit. So where do you think some of this old spoiled food is going to go? It's going to go to our community. So once again, when we talk about choices, we have choices, family, right now, while there's still a handful of melanated farmers that do care. This Better Buggy experience over the last year lets you know, okay, there is the mental capacity. There are black farmers, but you have to support them, not just with your likes and, oh, great job. You have to support them financially to have the capacity to be able to fulfill orders from a Better Buggy, from a Black Soil, from the different cooperatives around the nation right now. There's a lot of them, but nowhere near as many as we need if we're really wanting to have a serious conversation about our food security. I keep hearing this word dark winter, family. I keep hearing it. It's not the conspiracy theorist in me. My ears hear what they hear. What do we think? My mind is on spring 2022 and 2023. I see these changes occurring, changes in the way people travel, changes in the way people conduct commerce. All of these dynamics are changing. And so when we think about, a lot of people are now what they call it the Great Resignation. As we think about new ways to re-enter the workforce, do we have a critical mass of us? It ain't gonna be everybody, but do we have a critical mass going into this food security thing is real? And I'm gonna find a niche in it because I see that the system we've been dealing in is crumbling before our eyes. The problematic person is just like, oh, just let it fall and destroy. But the entrepreneur is like, okay, I see this falling, but I have this skill set and this is where I'm gonna feel it. And this time around, since I know we ain't got no help, I'm gonna make sure this goes to the B1 community first. And then whatever surplus we have, this is what we'll do business with. But first, I'm gonna feed my base. This feed is in the form of capital when it comes to these farmers. These farmers, I mean, I imagine they'd be glad to see, X amount of people sign this petition, but they'd be a lot more glad to know that I got some people that's actually going to come out and spend some money with me. I have some people that's going to place orders months in advance, and so I actually have the capital to put these seeds in the ground. I can actually get the equipment I need to provide next year's. See, we have to think years in advance. These people we're dealing with have been thinking for decades how they're going to minimize our numbers and starve people out. I'm going to just keep it real. They've thought for a while now.
For us not to be starved out, we have to be able to feed ourselves. To feed ourselves, we need to finance, support these Black farmers. We need to begin to grow our own food, and we need to start preparing. We should have been preparing. We've been calling to action to begin to prepare for this dark winter. The shortages are here. They're going to get worse. This is not fear mongering. This is not, trying to scare you. This is not trying to be negative. Just being real, being honest, and trying to get this word out so that we can stay ahead of the curve. But this curve it's a heck of a curve. It's like a wave. It's like trying to stay ahead of a wave, but this wave is getting so big. And if it crashes on you, it's going to crush you. And again, what would you do if you were hungry? What would you be willing to do if you're hungry? How would you compromise yourself if you're really hungry? We have many examples of what people have done, disparaging things, illegal things, horrendous things they've done to themselves, or put themselves or subjugated themselves to other people just to be able to eat for that day or that moment. Let's not put ourselves in that position. Let us not be in that position. Let's not put ourselves in that position. Let us not. Again, this is a petition at change.org. Release the funds of the American Rescue Plan to the Black farmers immediately. This is just a small thing that we can do to begin making sure that we are more food secure. This is just one little dot in a long line of dots that we need to do. But this is something that needs to be done. Those 16,000 farmers, estimated around 16,000 farmers that can benefit from this debt relief, they need that. All the other close to 40,000 registered farmers, they need our support. For the 40 plus million melanated people in the B1 community in this country, all of us, again, Farmer Brown has said it's inconceivable for everyone to begin to grow, but it's going to take everybody to begin to grow. You grow something, grow some food. Not necessarily to become a farmer and enter the market, but just to be able to supplement your own diet. Just to make sure that you yourself, you, your family, your community, your loved ones have some food on reserve. And this is not an immediate gratification thing. It's not like you spend your money and bam, you got food. This is something that takes time to develop. It takes time to grow. It takes cultivation and nurture to make sure that what you have planted will successfully grow. So it's going to take time, and time is running out. I don't know about y'all, but I'm down here in South Georgia. It's cold. It's cool. It was just hot the other day. Change comes quick.
El Rapido.
And if you're not ready, you're gonna be caught chilly. Let's make sure that we're warm and toasty and comfortable, secure, food secure. If you want, email us at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. Email us at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. We will send you the link to this petition for you to sign. It's in the description of this video, of this podcast. If you're watching live, it's in the comment section on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Email us at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. We'll email you the actual link to this petition. But let's get this petition signed. Let's make sure that those farmers that are qualified to receive this debt relief, that they get it. That was legally mandated for them to receive it. Let's make sure that they get it. This was March 11th, 7 months ago, and they still haven't received this money. Got any final words, Farmer Brown?
No, it was crazy till it started raining.
No, it was crazy until it started raining. You keep hearing Biden and all these other talking heads and in the mainstream media talking about this dark winter. Don't pay attention. Don't let that slip your awareness until it's dark and it's cold. It's already getting chilly. It's already getting chilly. Don't wait.
Watching controlled demolition.
Yes.
Of a failed democracy.
Failed democracy. Failed this is the whole system. Economic system, the way we do business. It's like a big wrecking ball.
Through every era, we've always had to eat. The people that produce that food that we eat are farmers. Are we supporting our own?
So, are you going to sign a petition? Are you going to put some seeds in the ground? Or are you just going to let yourself be subjugated or be a subject to the cold, dark winter? John Henry Harris, we have Farmer Brown MC, winner. It's B1 Ag, Daily Bread Podcast. It's time for some action, y'all. Until next time, peace.